Okay, I'm going to show you how to fix a hard edge on an image, or just to soften the edge on an image. On the one you're working on, I noticed from here, from the ear area to the beard area, was cut out too hard, and the same on the other side. So what we want to do is select 1 pixel along this edge and blur it. 1 pixel is not a magic number. It might be more, it might be less, but we're going to work with 1 for now. So what you want to do is make sure Mur is selected. And how do you do that? Very easy. I use this all the time. Press Control, click on Mur, and it selects him. Now we have him selected, but how do we get just this area and 1 pixel selected? Well, it's a little tricky, but it's not really that hard. You go Select, Modify, Contract, and contract by 1. Now, that contracts the entire selection by 1, so how do we get just this area and this area selected? You go to Select, Inverse. So now we have just the edges selected, but we also have the edges of the entire image selected. That's pretty easy to fix. Take your polygonal lasso tool and start from this area. Oops, I'm sorry. Let me undo that. Let me undo that. Okay. What you want to do is press Alt. So if you notice when I press Alt, look at the polygonal lasso. It turns to a minus. Make sure it's set to Alt, and which is a minus, and just click here, and now we're deselecting this area. Okay, now we have 1 pixel selected along here, and we have to do the same for his beard. Alt, click, and drag. Okay, so now we have just this fixed, this selected, and this selected. What we want to do is go to Filter. I'm going to zoom in first so we can see this a lot better. Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And it's set to 2. I'm going to zoom in even a little more. I'm using Control Alt. That's too much blur. As you can see, off, the blur is off, and the blur is on. That's too much blur. So I'm going to try like 0.5 and just see how that looks. Click my preview back on, and that looks good. It's really subtle. The difference on this isn't that drastic because the edge is already pretty soft, but when you do something really hard like yours, you'll just have to mess with this number and 1 pixel or 2 pixels, whatever your selection is. Anyway, that's it. That's how you blur an edge. Now, we could let me see what I was trying to say. Yeah, we could do that, and let's move on to something else that I wanted to show you on this image. Sorry, I got a little confused. I'm pressing Control D to deselect that. I noticed some yucky fringing along here that I didn't like. So I'm just going to show you how to fix stuff like that. What you want to do is put another layer on top of Mur and clip it to Mur. Now what we're going to do is take the clone tool, zoom in, and here we have a huge difference in color and whatever. So we want to put this more of a brown on here. I have my clone tool. Put this over here and do this. I'm going to make the brush just a little bigger. Now ideally we would want to select this and go over it slowly, but I'm just going to do this fast, and it still should look fine. So we're just getting rid of that dark fringing along the edge. And that looks okay. But now it just doesn't look very natural. It looks like just yuck was painted along the edge. A good way to fix that, take the cloned layer and turn it all the way down, or you can work from all the way up. I like to work from all the way down and just start turning it up. And I would say right about there it looks pretty darn natural. We're at 48, which is basically 50. As you can see, I'm going to go to 100. It looks junky, and 0 looks junky, so I'm just going to type in 50. Yeah, actually I like 48 a little bit better. But that's how you fix fringing. I could probably do the same to here. If you're putting myrrh on a dark background, this actually may be desirable because it'll help blend him in and you won't have to do this trick. But if you're putting him on, let's put him on a light background. I'm taking that off and I'm putting him on a light background. That kind of looks okay. I think maybe in a mid-tone it will start looking, yeah, it'll start showing up in more of a mid-tone. That looks really bad, and all the way to here. But once you get darker, you see it starts going away, and it looks really good. Let me put this on. Yeah, even on this darkness, you wouldn't want to do that. Do this layer, because it just looks worse. So you have to mess with the color of the background you're working with, and do a combination of all that stuff. I have a feeling if I put them on a light background, no, it still looks good on a light background without it. Maybe in here it looks better with it, but you'll just have to mess with that where you want to do your color fringing removal stuff. I hope that little part helps.